can't get it.
But you see how much kidnappers are taking from victims.
My thing is, problem with I think all the stakeholders together, and I think we get the 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
So the support that is needed, and once again, the support your airline people will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning, viewers out there. It's Wednesday morning edition of Inside Nigeria. Of course, the midweek edition of Inside Nigeria. Today, November 10, 2021. As usual, I'm with my regular co-anchor, Winifred Ogbebo. Winifred, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning, viewers out there. It's a bright and sunny day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So much hope and expectations. Welcome
There
to
was,
Inside
a,
Nigeria.
there was a downpour yesterday,
Yes,
unexpectedly,
yesterday night.
because I thought
Destructive downpour.
It was,
Disruptive.
yeah.
Yeah, accidents somewhere.
yes, on the highway, yeah,
Yes.
it's Abuja's trademark.
Yes, that's right.
It's Abuja, even in the morning or afternoon, whenever
Multiple accidents.
there is a wet road, it happens. People don't actually pay much attention to the road. Well,
But people are surprised that this month of November we are still witnessing rainfall.
nothing
Climate
surprising. That is the best answer.
Now you
Climate
know
change.
it. Yeah.
Nothing surprising at all.
Don't be surprised it will even rain in December.
December, wow.
Well, viewers, our guest has introduced himself, Jide Oju.
Okay, by making those comments off guard. Okay.
And Abuja-based public affairs analyst and TVOs. Good morning, sir.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
It's always a pleasure having you around.
Welcome to Inside Nigeria this Wednesday morning. There is this joke on the social media yesterday, close to the completion of the Anambra State Governorship election. People say, well, it will be Soludo at the end of the day. After all, he will only serve for one term because he has been governor of the central bank. Now this is the second term.
People even credited it to Lai Mohammed.
Oh my God, that's too bad. They say governor is a governor, whether central bank or in the state.
Or even Rotary Club.
Okay, you are close to becoming a governor.
Yes, I've already been a president. So
Okay, no governor again.
yes, I can.
Oh, so if you come Rotary governor,
Of course,
then when you
that's
go
one
to
of the
Edo, you serve one term.
At least that's one of the criteria. Before you can become the district governor, you must have been a past president.
All right. Well, viewers, as usual, we're starting with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, The Leadership. On the front page of Leadership this morning, Electoral Act Amendment Bill. APC, PDP kick as National Assembly approves direct primaries. Electoral Act Amendment Bill. APC, PDP kick as National Assembly approves direct primaries. Lawmakers okay electronic transmission of election results. Use of technology. Lawmakers okay electronic transmission of election results. Use of technology. Did I know this is one good news about this whole electoral bill, the approval of the electronic transmission of election results and use of technology in our subsequent election.
Well, for me, it's heartwarming news that finally and ultimately, after 2 years, we were able to dust the shame of 2018 and picked up from where we left electoral reform way back in 2018. As soon as the 9th National Assembly came into office, they made it a priority to pass not just amendments to the Electoral Act 2010, but a brand new electoral law. So what we are seeing is Electoral Act 2021, which means that the Electoral Act 2010 as amended will be repealed when the president signs this into law. So that's one heartwarming news. But people are focusing more on the electronic transmission of results and use of technology. It goes beyond that. When you have a new body of law, you need to dissect it. You need to meticulously peruse it to know how it has affected the dynamics of organizing election in Nigeria. When the Senate announced committee conference call met, the hype was on electronic transmission, the one the Senate passed, and people were like, "Oh, make electronic transmission of results, approve it and all of that." But it happened that yesterday we were told that 21 clauses were actually harmonized. So it goes beyond what we see. It's just the pressure point that many people are seeing. For instance, the issue of campaign finance. Right now, the law says a president should spend 1 billion on his campaign, while a governor spends 200 million. But we know that is very unrealistic. So what the law has also done is to increase it by fivefold. So the president is at liberty to spend 5 billion, and the governor 1 billion. You ask whether that is also realistic in the light of the devaluation of naira and all of that. But again, it's a step in the right direction. Some of us have advocated, don't put any ceiling. Just say the number of registered voters multiplied by maybe 20 naira or 50 naira, and then you will not have a uniform ceiling for everybody. The reason being, Winifred, Alimosho local government is as big as a state, but it's a local government in Lagos. It's the biggest, like some others. But you find out that while Oyo State has 33 local government, Kano 44, Bayelsa only have 8.
Yes.
And yet you want the person who will run campaign in Bayelsa with 8 local government, 5 of which are on water, to spend same money as somebody who is running election in Kano with 44 local government, or in Ibadan with 3 local government. You could see the disparity, because the size of the population you are campaigning to is not the same. So if you have used that saying that 20 naira multiplied by the number of registered voters in a state, then that would be fair and equitable. But to say everybody should spend not more than 200 million, it's unrealistic. That's why it is breached with impunity, because what candidates spend, even on advert alone, is in excess of 1 billion. You need to see how much. I mean, you run a newspaper, you work in the newspaper media. If I'm to place a political advert in leadership today, you know how much you will collect from me, particularly if it's a colored advert. So just imagine that if I pity Obiora Okonkwo of Zeni Labour Party in Anambra. This guy spent, in fact, I should say without fear of contradiction, that he spent the highest sum of money on political campaign, media campaign on his election. You would think that he's a strong contender, given the hype in the media, the fact that he was spending so much to propagate his media organization. But he came, I don't know whether he even got up to whether he ranks 10 out of 18. So it tells you that it's not even the money you spend in media that matters most. But coming back to the controversy that this has also generated, direct primary and indirect primary, this has pitched the governors forum with the National Assembly members. Recall that the governors are putting pressure that president should not sign this bill because of boxing them to only direct primaries. And I like the fact that leadership newspaper is taking the passage from that angle, because while every other thing, ceteris paribus, we say in economics, all things being equal, all things are never equal. Now, for some people, they are looking at the shutting out of indirect primary as targeting them. And it is true. The governors have a way of pocketing delegates under indirect rule, because you are dealing with a handful of individuals. I know in Ekiti election in the the primaries that brought Fayemi into the second term. If you go back and read media reports, it was alleged to have bussed many of the delegates to an hotel, and from there brought them to the venue of the primaries. You recall that the primary was disrupted and had to be reconducted and all of that, because it's very easy to bribe and corrupt a handful of people. But when you throw it open and you have to organize election for all members of the party as is expected of direct primary, you will have to spend times 200 of whatever you spend to get the delegates on your part. I don't know whether you realize. But the issue is, for me, like I said on the national TV yesterday night, I think, as I said in the US, if it's not broken, you don't need to fix it. Section 87 is good on its own. It gives opportunity of direct or indirect primary. But I know where the National Assembly members are coming from. They knew that with the congresses, where the governors have planted their loyalists in all the key positions, from wards to local government to state, that it will be near impossible for some of them to come back to National Assembly if they do indirect primaries, because the governors can easily influence the handful of people who will be delegates. But if they take it direct, where maybe elections will now hold at ward levels or polling unit levels, it will be very difficult for the governor to influence everybody that will be voting. So that is the Cold War that is currently now that has ensued between the Governors Forum and the National Assembly members. But be that as it may, what I can forecast is that President Buhari will sign this bill. You can take that to the bank. He will sign. What may now happen is that maybe in January next year, he can sponsor an amendment if he's convinced that there should be indirect primary. He can now bow to pressure, just like he did with the petroleum industry bill. You recall that with all the hulabaloo about the 3%, 5% for host community, he signed. Everybody was kicking, oh, this man doesn't like Niger Delta. But 36 days after, he sent in an amendment. And that, I see, may likely be what
but
he
the
will
amendment
do.
does not include the 5%.
Yeah, it did include, but what I'm saying is, drawing reference from what he did with petroleum industry bill. And it's a new study for me as a political scientist. The man was very smart. He knew that there will be too many varied interests on PIB. So if he does not sign and he returns it to Parliament, the bill may never come back in the way he will even recognize it. So he signed it, and 36 days after, he sent it for amendment. So what I see is that if the pressure is too much on the president after signing this, he may actually sponsor a small amendment to now make room for indirect primary. But on the other hand, people have also said that direct primaries will weigh INEC down, because INEC needs to supervise, or INEC needs to be invited to all the direct primaries. And if a party is holding presidential primaries, that means INEC have to be present at all the centers where voting will be taking place. Does INEC have the manpower, or will he have to hire ad hoc staff to do that? But with assuming without considering that could pose a huge logistical challenge to INEC, I know that the mindset of the National Assembly in passing this is that they want to show their superiority to the chief executives in their respective states.
But one other thing too that I felt would also be of concern to the National Assembly members is the order of elections. I don't know whether they tampered with it.
No. You see, from what happened in 2018,
having presidential force used to put them on pressure.
They tried that in 2018. It was one of the reasons the president didn't sign. That was clause 25 in the amendment bill of 2018. That was part of the reason the president waited and said, look, you cannot influence the order of election. You cannot dictate to INEC how INEC should order the sequence of election. So they dare not try it with this. If they have inserted that also, I think we might
It's
be
not,
in
it's
for
not,
a
it's not
surprise.
part of the law. That is at the prerogative of INEC to
Okay.
decide which election
Which
comes first
election comes
and which
first
one
and
comes.
next, yeah.
As you say, we still have to go back to this later on subsequent front pages. I
Okay.
think it's dominant on some of the dailies today. But before that, we need to move away to a bit of business on our sister
National
publication,
economy.
the National Economy.
Yes, National Economy says manufacturers fear 1.9 trillion revenue loss. Fourth proposed excise duty introduction. Manufacturers fear 1.9 trillion revenue loss. Fourth proposed excise duty introduction. Wow.
Well,
I missed.
you know, I don't know how they do this computation. I think some of this is just throwing out the numbers. If there is a proposal to introduce excise duty, it's part of the legally recognized levies and duties and fees and taxes that you need to pay. So manufacturers should not run away from it. But I also understand with their standpoints, considering the fact that there have been allegations that Nigerian businesses are now overtaxed.
Yes.
You know, multiple taxation is one of the highlighted challenges of why there is no ease of doing business in Nigeria. They have to pay VAT, they have to pay company income tax, they have to pay what's it called? Pay as you have for workers and all of that. And I know that the federal government is trying to look for money to fund the deficit in the budget. There is 6 trillion budget deficit in the 2022 electoral bill. So possibly that's why they want to introduce excise duty. But what they need to be mindful.
Budget presentation, the Minister of Finance did announce that they were going to introduce VAT on carbonated drinks like Coca-Cola, and that's what informed this now. And the manufacturers are trying work already.
Let them introduce it. I don't take carbonated drink. So if that is one way to discourage people, it's to save their lives, because those things are actually dangerous to human. But it's like when they increase tax on cigarettes, you know, cigarettes and alcohol beverages. So, but I'm not saying people should not take it. If you think it agrees with your body chemistry, go ahead and take, but you have to pay for it. Like now, there was a friend of mine that said he went to a club in Abuja where, you know, a bottle of wine was going for as much as 500,000. Just one bottle of wine. And some group of young guys were taking, while he was there, he said they took about 7. Multiply 5 by 7. At one sitting, somebody is taking like 3.5 million worth of drink. You see, whether you have the money or not, people are bound to enjoy themselves. But the problem with this, I think why the manufacturers are thinking that there is high cost of production already. And adding excise duty to it will make it difficult for them to break even, let alone making profit. Because look at how much to access land, to import raw materials or machinery. Look at it. Where is the dollar? Today, people who wants to import have to go through the black market, or what they call parallel market, to source foreign exchange, because it's just not available. We are not handling enough forex. And that's what brought about this whole hullabaloo about, even making them to introduce e-Naira, because then you can transact even from abroad, you can transact in Naira. But not all producers of raw materials will collect your Naira and to give you goods. But bottom line, I think this needs to be thoroughly interrogated. Part of the reason why we are told, according to Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, why the price of cooking gas has hit the roof is because of VAT that is being paid, and that this was part of government measure to discourage importation of cooking gas. But why you want to discourage importation? You are not domestically self-sufficient. And that is the problem the dilemma government has found itself, even to remove subsidy for refined petroleum products. Because if you remove subsidy, the price will go to as much as 400 naira per litre. You recall that over the weekend there was fuel queues in Abuja, Kano, and so on.
NNPC was warning against panic
yes,
buying.
yes, but it's because people are hearing from the rumor means that maybe federal government is not ready to pay subsidy again. So that was what. So introducing excise duty, if it wasn't there, it is a legitimate taxation. But is it right? Is it appropriate to introduce it when we are facing COVID-19 pandemic, when businesses are very dull, when businesses are collapsing, many businesses are folding up because of operating costs. Look at how much they pay on utilities, like even the electricity, water, the bad roads, the security challenge, and all of that. So that's why they are warning that if you now introduce excise duty, which is another layer of tax, then you are killing their business rather than enhancing their business.
The many people are still going to be let off jobs. They are going to be relieved of their jobs.
The cost of production maybe is too much. Well, yeah, thank you for that wonderful analysis. We need to go back to the front page of Leadership to check a trending story about the Anambra governorship election.
You can scroll down.
Finally, Soludo wins Anambra Governorship Poll. Jide, I know you are not surprised because you saw the trend on Saturday, but we'll be talking to a member of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, the ruling party in Anambra, to actually share his thoughts about this just concluded exercise. We are being joined by Alhaji Ibrahim Garba Kiafo, National Financial Secretary of ABGA and member NWC. Good morning, Alhaji Ibrahim.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, brothers. How are you?
Very, very fine. How's Oka?
Yeah, Oka fine. And you?
All right, good. We are first seeing what happened in the early hours of this morning. Professor Charles Soludo, a former central banker, has been declared the winner of the Anambra governorship election on the platform of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, which is your party. How do you see this victory as a party?
Yeah, the victory is much welcome, and it has been on expectation for a long time. This is the legacy built by ABGA, and we are very much sure the victory will come this way. So we are very much happy with the victory, and it is welcome. It is in the protection of Nigeria's democracy and electoral process.
All right, ABGA has been on ground in Anambra for some time now. It seems you are having difficulty spreading away and having spreading your tentacles to other southeastern states. Is it that Anambra, because it's the home state of the late Ikemba Inewi, the late Odumegwu Ojukwu, that is why you are having it comfortable in Anambra, or you are finding it difficult to actually break even and actually make foray into other states like Imo, Abia, Ebonyi, and the rest of them in the southeast?
Yeah, ABGA is a national party. It's not a regional or state party. If you check history, you will see that we have won election in Imo State. We have won in various places, even in the northern Nigeria. We have members of the House of Representatives from the central Nigeria, from Benue State. We also have from Taraba. So we have so many victories all over the country. We are now moving, every political party has its own ground area. So this is our stronghold, Anambra, but ABGA is really a national party. And if it is not a national party, you cannot see me from Katsina State, National Financial Secretary. So it's an expected victory, and it's not just for Anambra, it's for Nigeria.
Okay. So what are your expectations from the governor-elect Charles Soludo?
Yeah, we have a very much confidence in him, and he's a qualified person. He's an experienced person. He was a governor 2 times in the central bank, and he has an experienced mind, and he has a very good mind that will change the entire system of Anambra State. He's a developer, he's a strategist, so we are expecting him to change. He's an econometrist, so he can change the system the way people are even not expecting. We are expecting him to perform better than this government in terms of everything.
Okay, Alhaji Ibrahim, before we allow you to go, before you join us, we've been talking about the past Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021. And one issue that has been causing disagreement is the issue of whether there should be direct primaries or indirect primary. Your party, ABGA, I don't know, are you also kicking against the direct primary provision in the new Electoral Act, or you are for indirect primary?
We are in ABGA. We support the new amendment bill of the Electoral Act, and we want a direct primary. It is okay. It's a democracy. So whatever system of election that will elect an individual into the party is acceptable. But direct primary is more of democracy. So democracy is more applicable in the direct primaries than indirect primaries. I support it. It's a good mission.
So finally, after Anambra, we should expect ABGA to spring up new surprises across the country, since you say ABGA is a national political party.
ABGA is a national political party, and believe me and write it down, in the next election, you will see where we are going to move. We are going to move down north and far east, far south. So we go everywhere. Expect our victory even in the southwestern Nigeria.
All right.
We are a developing political party, and we are supporting a strategy that will improve Nigeria. When you go into our manifesto and constitution, you will see openly how ABGA is going to operate in terms of improving technology, agriculture, education, socio-economic improvement, and security. We have all that written, so we are not expecting somebody to come and do it for us. We have it written.
In your manifesto?
Yeah, we have it in the manifesto. So I wish you will have a copy. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for creating time to join us this morning on Inside Nigeria here at the Leadership Television.
Yes,
Alhaji Ibrahim Garba Kiafo is the National Financial Secretary of ABGA and member National Working Committee. He has been speaking with us from Awka, Anambra State Live. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Well done.
All right, we need to move to the next paper on our menu this morning, which is the People's Daily. Not the People's Daily of China, the People's Daily of Nigeria. On the front page of People's Daily this morning is an interesting story about security in the nation's capital of Abuja. Rep summon FCT minister over influx of bandits deteriorating infrastructure. Rep summon FCT minister over influx of bandits deteriorating infrastructure. Adopt conference committee reports on Electoral Act Amendment Bill. We have dealt with that, Jide, but look at this. I don't know. Are you surprised that the National Assembly is wading into Abuja infrastructure and security issues?
No, Abuja is the federal capital of Nigeria, and it should be of concern that if Abuja is not safe, Nigeria is not safe. This is where you have all foreign embassies. They may have consulate elsewhere, but this is their head office. And whatever happens in Abuja is the barometer with which you measure what is happening in Nigeria. And this is an environment which should be watertight in terms of security, where people should be able to walk any time of the day and night. And then when you now have bandits, abducting university lecturers, as happened last week at the University of Abuja. Yes, we thank God that those people were rescued, but it's a very harrowing experience for those who were affected. We have also been recording a lot of banditry in Kuje, in Kwali, in Abaji, in Kwagwalada, and even Buhari. So if Abuja is not safe, where else will be considered safe? But you see, what the FCT, and FCT have two ministers. We have Minister of State and we have the substantive minister. What Abuja should have noted is the warning given by Governor Bello of Niger State, which came some 3-4 months ago, that bandits are gradually taking over Niger State, and Niger State is barely 2 hours to Abuja. In fact, that's the state capital. Niger State is less than 30 minutes drive from the heart of Abuja, because once you cross from Zuba to Zuma Rock area, you're already in Tafa local government of Niger State. So, and because of the fluidity of the borders among states, you don't even know. I've had cause to observe election in FCT, and we went to Buhari, and by the time we passed JAM Law School and all of that, we were in Niger State, we were in Tafa, local government area of Niger State. They told us this is not Abuja. I was surprised. And you won't see any wall demarcating FCT from the, so that's why assets should have been placed around the borders, because when your neighbor is eating cockroach, if you don't warn them, when the consequences of that cockroach comes, even you that is a neighbor will be affected. You will not be able to sleep. The fact that there is a kinetic operations against the bandits in Niger, in Kaduna, in Zamfara, in which other state? Katsina. That is rubbing off negatively on Abuja, because when those kinetic actions are heavy on them, the next thing is for them to migrate. Nobody wants to die. Even with all their AK-49, AK-47 and all the rifles they parade, they still don't want to die. You still see bandits wearing charms, wearing bulletproof. Why did they want to do that when you are making other people to cry, when you are not baiting early to slaughter other human beings? But that's to tell you that even a wicked man, a wicked woman does not want to die. So that's when FCT should have tightened its own security, particularly around the border corridors. You know, there was a time, there was a scare in FCT when multitude of motorbikes were seen entering through Buhari to Abuja, and people were scared. In fact, many schools in Buhari area council have to shut down prematurely. And if you also listen to Governor Sule of Nasarawa State, he said they started seeing strange faces in some communities in Nasarawa State because of the kinetic operation of the military in southern Kaduna. So we should have known that we are not an island. FCT is home for all. And a lot of people come to FCT thinking that this is where they can pick money on the floor. But they came here, they were disillusioned. Many of them are now constituting nuisance to the entire FCT community. And that's why the FCT minister needs to double up and double down on insecurity, because no matter what he does in terms of infrastructure, in terms of any other thing, agriculture and all of that, if there is no security or sense of security, you know, then he has not done well. Yesterday night, when I got a call to come on the national TV for 9 p.m. news, I was scared leaving my home because I'm not a night crawler. I usually want to retire early to my home, even if I don't sleep early. But when I was debating in my mind whether I should venture out or not, I'm not talking of midnight. I'm talking of just to go out between 8 and 9 p.m. And that is how bad the situation is. Because you don't want people to blame you for recklessness. What are you doing that late in the night? Knowing the security situation. Meanwhile, there's no curfew in FCT. And of course, we still have people going to clubs and coming at late hours, but we think differently. We value our lives differently. So what I'm saying is that I'm 100% in support of what the reps have done. Let the FCT minister come and explain what he's doing to tighten the nuts and bolts of security around FCT, and also fix infrastructure. You need to, I don't know where Ashwaju and Winifred lives. Possibly you are one of those elite journalists that lives in town. But those of us who lives in the suburban area of Abuja, who have to commute daily over 20-25 kilometers to town, we know the state of infrastructure in the satellite towns. It's nothing to write home about. There's no water. There is no electricity supply is epileptic, and even the state of road is getting bad.
But me, I also wanted to just chip in the issue of CCTV. You know, there has been talk of this CCTV, especially this federal capital territory. Is in the last administration we heard the FCT minister earmarked so much money for it. At the end of the day, nothing.
Where are they?
We're supposed to.
Where are they?
I think it was a police project at that time. After attack on the police headquarters, after Boko Haram started attacking Abuja,
huge sums of money was budgeted for it.
It was aborted. You know, this does not even look
they
like
borrowed money from China to do that
exactly
project. But the money never saw the light of the day. Neither does the project saw the light of the day. Lagos and Abuja were supposed to be pilot for those CCTV stuff. But you see, even if you put CCTV in city centers, these criminal elements, they are not usually operating in the heart of Abuja. They operate at the periphery. You know, places like Abaji, Kwali,
yes, you talk about
Kuje,
all those
Agwabalada, down to Buhari. That's where they operate mostly.
But even now, inside the city center, it's not safe.
No, I know.
Traffic robbers everywhere.
Yes, traffic robber, one chance.
And even that both border towns, that's where they also need it.
That's why I'm saying that even if you have CCTV alone will not pick all the criminal elements. You also need to deploy drones, all-weather drones, and you know also improve communication. Where is the 3-digit number that I can call if I'm under this?
Emergency number.
Emergency number.
So they just passed a motion about it to have it in place.
Exactly. You need that place that everybody, even a child of 5, should be able to know. You know, in US you talk of 911, but in Abuja, in Nigeria, there's no digital number that you call that will take you to the control room where you can have rapid response if you are under attack or you know your neighborhood is under attack. And we have come of age with the technology that is available to fight insecurity. Because if you say recruit more personnel, even if you have 200,000 personnel in FCT, it will not be sufficient because there are things human beings cannot do. Like this satellite, you have the Nikonsat in Abuja station there. Why can't they help with surveillance so that they can pin down where there are security breaches and help complement whatever CCTV and the drones cannot pick? And look at what happened. I was somewhere last week, and I took a jibe at the military. They didn't like it, but I told them why Nigerian citizens, the civil populace, doesn't like them. I said, look, you want to, because you heard of threat of banditry in FCT, you pin down the Kubo, Mararaba, Karu down to town.
What happened to other exits?
No, I said, these bandits are not known to be using the highway. They come in through the bushes. So if while you are pinning down and causing gridlock, these people know all the bush paths through which they can come to Abuja town. Most of them, they are on motorbikes, they are on keke, they are on bicycles. So while you are pinning down and making innocent citizens to suffer, because I've been in some of those pin down, they don't even have any equipment to scan your vehicle. They just look at your face. If your face looks like that of Ashwaju, they may say, "Oh, this man looks, his face is not smiling." Oh yeah, pass. But there's nothing. There is no scanning to determine whether there is scanning AK-48 or 49 or 47. There is nothing. So we need to do better than just pinning down and making. Because my greatest fear, ladies and gentlemen, my greatest fear is that may we not see suicide bombing in Nigeria. One of those days when there is a pin down or lockdown along that corridor, if a suicide bomber were to detonate a well-primed vehicle in the midst of that place, you can just imagine the casualty.
Exactly.
Because people cannot even escape
No.
if such happens. So we need to have a more sophisticated way to do traffic control. Even if you have intelligence that they are supposed to be attacked, you need to monitor the bush parts more than you monitor the township. And then have sophisticated, there are sophisticated gadgets that once you drive on it, if there are issues with your car, it will raise alarm.
Yes.
And then you can flag such vehicle and do a thorough search. But where you just look, you just bend and look at the face, oh, the face is looking smart. Criminals don't write their names on their forehead.
Exactly. Type of
There is nothing psychological
training about.
Because if I'm a criminal and I know I'm on a mission, I will try to be calm. In fact, the person you least expected, they can use person with disability.
Exactly.
They use women.
Yes.
They will just look for a fine babe like Winifred, and then you put them at the driver's seat and say, "Madam, nothing for the boys." Meanwhile, that's the mastermind.
Yes.
But they are looking for man. But those criminals are also very smart. Exactly. They will try to distort your train of thought by using somebody you least expected can be part of their criminal syndicate. So we need to do more in FCT. If FCT is not safe, Nigeria is not safe, no matter how much you spend on security. And that's why we need to hear from the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Adamu Bello, or is it Malam Bello? Mohammed Musa Bello, to come and explain to the people's representatives exactly what is going on, what are going on. We are approaching festive period now. In the next couple of weeks, we are in Christmas, we are doing carols. How safe will people be when people are desperately looking for money to take to their villages to go and show up?
Recreation centers for the Christmas holidays. Well, I hope the FCC minister is doing, and it needs to be up and doing. We need to go on a short break. When we come back, we shall be looking at the front page of Daily Sun and conclude. We'll be back shortly.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Welcome back. It's still Inside Nigeria midweek edition, November 10, 2021. Winifred?
Yes, we have Daily Sun, which is the last paper on our menu today. And the Daily Sun says, Invasion of Justice Orderly's home. Senate indicts EFCC, AGF Malami, police. Invasion of Justice Orderly's home. Senate indicts EFCC, AGF Malami, police. And the rider says, demands disclosure of probe panel's findings. Tax IGP on missing Vanguard reporter as rep seek investigation.
This is one story that has refused to go.
Mm.
The invasion of the home
Yes,
of
the-
a justice of the Supreme Court, Mary Peter Odili, by security agent. But since then, everybody has been denying. We are not responsible. We are not responsible. So, who done it?
Well, I don't know whether the Senate that indicted the EFCC, Malami, and police, whether they set up a committee of inquiry. To the best of my knowledge, they just resumed from their recess, 3 or 4 weeks recess,
Exactly.
yesterday.
When did they carry out
when
their
did
own
they carry their
investigation?
investigation?
Well,
to
the IG
them?
even told us they have arrested
They-
people responsible.
yes,
even though
some
we don't know.
policemen.
Exactly.
He said some policemen who are responsible have been arrested. But on the surface, it will seem like there were, because I know that a judge, a magistrate, was alleged to have said that he was misled to sign a warrant, search warrant on Odili's house by the Attorney General, Minister of Justice.
Who also denied knowledge.
And
Also
Madam
denied
denied
knowledge. He was the first
Even-
person that denied knowledge.
Exactly. So, as they said in my local palace, the wasp denies, the bees deny. But here is the farmer's head, farmer's eye swollen from bee sting. So everybody is denying because they know it has received public outrage, backlash. Because how do you go and visit a husband's scene on the wife? You said you are after the husband. You now want to go and search the wife's official and personal residence. It is not done. And even the husband, when his passport was seized after on his way back from UK, the court has said it was wrong for EFCC to have asked immigration to seize his passport. This is not a banana republic, and the law is on the side of a suspect. This is a criminal allegation, and until you prove he's deemed innocent until he's proven guilty. So, and we cannot allow this invasion of Justice Odili to be swept under carpet, because there are ripple effect. It has a ripple effect. One, from what I gather, she's the number 2 in rank to the current Tanko, who is this Chief Justice of Nigeria. And should they indict her, it then means that she will not be eligible to be to succeed Mohammed Tanko when his tenure expires. And we know the orchestrated removal of the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, that's Walter Onoye, ahead of 2019 election, just barely a couple of weeks to the election, under Trump charges that he didn't declare all his assets for code of conduct bill. The man has cried out to say he was not giving fair hearing, and his removal was politically motivated. So if you are now trying to intimidate a Supreme Court judge, because an injustice to one is an injustice to all. You may not like Mary Odili, you may not even like her husband, Peter Odili, but you see, the law is on their side. You have to prove your allegation against them beyond reasonable doubt. Has there been any official petition against Mary Odili? Why will you go under the cover of darkness? You see, those are the things we should ask ourselves. If you are confident that you are on the right side of law, why using the cover of darkness to go and execute your act? That's how we had the DSS invading homes of 6 judges some couple of years ago. I remember I wrote against it. Yes. And none of those judges were convicted, even when they were charged to court. They alleged that they have foreign currencies, they have money they cannot account for. But who are you to be the judge? When the court, you didn't even let National Judicial Council to know about what you have of these judges. And then you went in a Gestapo manner, broke down their doors, and rattled them and treated them like common felons. At the end of the day, they were charged to court, but none of them, to the best of my knowledge, was found culpable of any of those crimes. And so, having to go and invade Justice Odili's home is reprehensible. It's not something that should be tolerated in a civic republic, because what goes round comes round. If somebody as high as her could be treated in such shabby manner for over 5 hours, her home was under siege. She sternly resisted them, started making frantic calls, but eventually those policemen vamoosed. EFCC was the first to deny that they were not in the know. But it was said that those policemen were actually acting on the orders of EFCC. But you see, it's very convenient for these people when they want to do this kind of agent job. They will not want to put a face to it. Look at the invasion of National Assembly at some point. It was the foot soldiers that were sent. And that was what led the Vice Acting President of Shibayo to remove Director General Lawal Daura, which also orchestrated why he has never been made acting president since that 2017 episode. So all animals are equal, but some are more equal than the other.
Because of time, we need to move away from this and talk
but
about
the Vanguard reporter that is missing.
Exactly, that's our
I don't know. You are a journalist.
Yes.
What have you heard about that? Was he abducted? What happened? Was he murdered? Was
nothing about him yet.
So how
just went missing. He was our colleague here. He left here, went back to Vanguard, from Vanguard to National Mirror, came back here, left again, went to Vanguard.
He was a political journalist.
Yes, covering the National Assembly.
Journalist, a prostituted journalist.
No. It's just it's happened. You gain experience around.
I'm sorry to abuse that. This is not to despise your person.
Exactly.
What we hope we are able to find.
It's a very serious matter.
It's a serious matter. NUJ, I know, has protested. Emmanuel Ogbeche has organized a protest march. There have been petitions, but I don't know if there's any committee or commission of inquiry into his disappearance. I don't know whether that has happened. Or what has the police...
The both chambers of the National Assembly just yesterday tasked the IDP to do a special investigation on this matter.
What has FCT Police Command said?
Well, I think the matter has even gone to the headquarters.
But as any of his colleagues in Vanguard landed, maybe put out a word that is working on a story that...
I think there's no clue. There's no any clue about it. It just went missing.
Because some people said they saw him around.
It doesn't look like kidnapping. Because kidnapping has a motive. They would have called to say, give us money.
And they have checked all the morgues. It could not be found.
No. Police said there's no trace of body.
Well, let's pray that God, in His infinite mercy, will make our colleague, the Vanguard reporter, to be found alive and in good health wherever he was missing. May God help us to make him to be discovered. It's one of those reasons why we are really very scared about security in FCT. Yes. If somebody was seen around 9 p.m., I'm not sure that's an unholy hour to be seen around. They said they saw him around Gariki or... Yeah,
that was his last place he was seen.
And all of a sudden, he could not be traced. But again, that's the job hazard. That's the hazard. Recall that a journalist with the Punch newspaper was abducted in his home in Cuba, together with
even a Chinese reporter too. Friday.
Those ones are clear case of kidnapping. Ransoms were paid and they were released. This one, no words about him at all.
Let's hope for the best that Trevor will be found sooner than later. Our heart goes to his family and friends, and hope. We are still hoping that he will be found. He will be made to found alive and be made to rejoin his family.
Thank you very much, Chidi Abuja-based public affairs analyst and TV host, for creating time to join us this morning, as usual, every Wednesday. Winifred,
thank you so much, Mr. Jide.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. All our viewers, make a day with us tomorrow, Thursday, for another edition of Inside Nigeria. From here, we're saying bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.